This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Hey, everybody, Scoot. This is Scoot. This Scoot's message goes out to you. If you already support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, you should not be hearing this message. And if you listen all night long or you fall asleep fast, these kind of messages may get in your way of the show. But if you already support the show, make sure all your Sleep With Me Plus feeds are set up in a podcast app. Because if you're hearing this, you're listening to the ad-supported version of the show, which is hosted in a different place than our Sleep With Me Plus content, which has no ads. You get those full ad-free episodes. You get ad-free story-only episodes. You get all the bonus episodes, Boar Friends and Boar Besties. You get those all-night audiobook-style compilations, postage super deluxe episodes, all intro episodes. So please take some time to set it up. All you need to do is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, log into your account, and add all the podcasts to your podcast app. If you need more help, reach out to our support team, support@supercast.com. And if ad-free full episodes or ad-free story-only episodes, hundreds of them sound like they'd fit your listening style better, try a 7-day trial. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus or get surprised by Scoots. Thanks, everybody. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who loves podcasts. I guess that's a lot of podcasters, but I love creative constraints, I guess is another thing. I think that's the other thing. So this episode is based on another podcast and creative constraints. Or how, making it fun, but making it sleepy. So this is a crossover with the Novelizers. You could find it wherever you consume your podcasts, the Novelizers, or at thenovelizers.com, or use the link in our show notes. And it's going to be fun. If this is your first episode of Sleep With Me, though, oh boy, are you in for a treat? I'm laughing because I had so much fun making this episode. And looking at a scene from the movie The Matrix in a few different ways through that sleepy lens. If you're new, though, Sleep With Me is a podcast that's here to keep you company, take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep, to be a friend in the deep, dark night. So you don't have to fall asleep alone or toss and turn alone. You got somebody there to keep you company and say, hey, I'll talk to you. I'll tell you about The Matrix in a way and describe things in a way you say, well, I don't know if that's accurate. And then you'll probably fall asleep, or you say, well, it's kind of accurate and it's more sleepy. And so that's Sleep With Me in a tiny bite-sized piece. I'm so glad you're here because the reason I make the show, you deserve a good night's sleep. The show does take a few tries to get used to, so give it a few tries. You got nothing to lose. And if you don't like the show, it doesn't work out, I got a whole other list of podcasts, sleepy podcasts at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thanks. So if you're already sure that this is not going to be a second date, check that out. But it does take a few tries. There's a lot of people that are regular listeners that pay for the podcast that have said, yeah, it took me 2 or 3 tries. But I'm so glad to hear what we got coming up. Support so the show can be free. Then a long meandering intro, which is separate from the support, made to ease you into bedtime. And then later on, we'll be talking about kind of a novelization of one scene of The Matrix. I'll novelize it, then I'll forget how I novelized it, then I'll renovelize it again. So let's just see how it goes. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Everybody, this is Scoots here. This is a interesting episode. It is a crossover episode, an experimental episode, behind-the-scenes episode all rolled up into one. I'm doing a crossover with the podcast, The Novelizers, which you probably heard in earlier me talking about it. The Novelizers, classic films novelized by people that like TV comedy writers and other people, and narrated by your favorite comics and actors. And they've done some classics. They did season 1 was Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And they had a lot of great people. Wayne Brady, Patton Oswalt, Rachel Bloom, J.K. Simmons, Felicia Day, Chrissy Chong, Ira Glass, and many more. And I appreciate Stephen, who reached out to me to say, hey, what if you could be a part of this? So what I'm supposed to do is the writing part, which I realized, hey, I do my best writing in the sleep with me form. And they said, what a great podcast. So let's do a promotional, we could do a crossover to promote the podcast and maybe make a little bit extra content around it. So I get to choose, and it was a tough choice between, for season 3, I think it's going to be The Matrix. And the great part is part of The Matrix I got to choose was a kind of a dream sequence. But so we're supposed to novelize it, right? So I figure what I'll do here is I'm going to go through the script that I have and kind of look through it and kind of read it and just see, then try to, as I'm reading the script, see what's ready for novelization. And then I'll watch the episode or have the episode run while I'm talking. And then probably try to come up with the finished product because it shouldn't be 50 minutes like this episode. Ideally, it'd be around 50 minutes, right? I think it's only 8 pages, so it should be around 8 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes long. But we'll see. So this is fun. So, of course, I didn't write down where it's supposed to start up. But this happens in a part of the movie early on, and where Agent Smith, our favorite friendly person, is saying, Mr. Anderson, you say, I don't know what magic you're weaving, Hugo, but I hope that's your actual name. So Agent Smith, we'll just pick it up at page, I think I'm supposed to read when the dream sequence starts, but we'll see. And I'll make it sleepy, don't worry. So, but this is the end of an interview. It just will lead into the episode where he's saying, Mr. Anderson, there's this back and forth thing that already is a little bit dreamy. Up until this point, Neo's just a regular person with, a name that could be spelled in, different, could be reversed, which I didn't realize till 10 years after I saw the film. And this was a big movie to date people like me that this was a big DVD purchase. This was one that you said, if you're going to watch it at home, don't watch it on VHS, man. Watch it on DVD. So anyway, so this is about 22 minutes in the movie. He says, Mr. Tell me, Mr. Anderson, what good is a phone call if you can't speak? And then Neo tries to use the phone, but, he has trouble opening his mouth, kind of like he hasn't had enough chat. He said, and Neo says in his head, my goodness, I probably don't have enough chapstick on my lips. Does anyone have any chapstick? Any of you secret agents that are interviewing me? And according to the script, that makes Neo feel slightly uncomfortable. And then he says, because of the fact that his lips feel like they need extra lubrication, his jaw tightens. And the agents snicker, watching Neo's confusion grow into something else. Where he says, what are they going to sell me? What is this? Some sort of situation? They say, oh yeah, you could get it from the vending machine. Different brands of lip balms are but they're $20. And then Neo says, wait a second, yeah, my lips are really. This is they're not just dry. They weren't totally. The situation is that my lips were not totally dry. Then they were pressed together. Then they may have dried. And what was on my lips was not, something. Did I have something? Did I have something sweet or sticky? And then Neo, maybe, and you say, maybe like this is experience you may have in a state that's been altered by something. He says, did I ever have any lips at all? Like that song I've quoted many times before, making lips. I don't got lips. My lips have been made into nothing at all. But he says I can't sing that because I'm imagining now I'm lipless. And then also the whole thing of like, how would I even make a phone call? So this creates a sense in Neo of a need for somebody to say, hey, man, just cool it down, just chill. But that's not the situation with these agents. And he says, he goes to get up. He says, I'd like to go get up. I'd like to go visit the vending machine and get myself some lip balm. If you gentlemen will excuse me, dudes, like, I don't know. I don't do a good Neo, but he says, my dudes, I don't think he does say that, but, if he were to say that in this situation, he'd say, excuse me, my dudes, I'd like to go get some lip balm. Also, since I'm here under your care, do you actually have a lip balm vending machine? And then Agent Smith says, you're going to help us, Mr. Anderson, whether you want to or not. And I love saying Mr. Anderson. Sometimes I just say it like this is one of the few, I don't know how good my actual, whatever it's called when you're trying to do somebody's imitation. It's not called that, but I'm not really good at any of them other than Miss Piggy, which is not Sleep Podcast thing, but so I can't do the actual real Miss Piggy, but I can only do hi-ya when Miss Piggy karate chops things. And then I can't even do a full sentence where she says something, something frog. But the only way I can make it sound like Miss Piggy is if you can't hear what I'm saying, something, something frog. Because she delivers it in that way. And then I can do another character that's no longer relevant. You say, Scoots, do you have any other things you could do that is less pop culturally relevant than Miss Piggy and Agent Smith? I'd say I can do one line from Yogi Bear, but I can't do it on a Sleep Podcast either. I can't remember it because it's been so long, because it's like I've never even done this for my daughter, because she would say, I have no idea who Yogi Bear is, but it's something doobly doo or something like that. And then he says something to his kid or his, so I used to be able to do that, but I can't remember it anymore. And then I do a terrible Antonio Banderas, Mr. Anderson. What are you going to do a poor version of my, I'm going to weave something for you, Anderson. Okay. But they say, by the way, let's see. They say, hey, we'll give you, how about this? Your lips are fine, man. That was just something going on with you. Maybe the AC, I don't know. But they say, we want you to wear this special necklace. And he says, he says, what is the necklace? And it says, it's kind of like when you become a best friend in a movie, not this movie, but instead of saying, I don't know what it is symbolically, that I can't think of what it would be right now, but it says, he goes, I'm going to keep half, Agent Smith says, and you're going to keep half, and your half says my. And he goes, the weird thing is I'm going to triplicate it for all these other agents, and it's going to say dudes. And he goes, why do you keep projecting that term on me? And he says, just put the necklace on, please. And he says, is this sort of the necklace you could use to, and he goes, I thought we're friends. Neo says, well, I guess you gave me that lip balm, but I don't think I remember you giving it to me. This is going pretty well, sleepifying it, because I think we're like 10 minutes in. We're only halfway through one page. But he says, okay, I'll wear it. And they say, great, man. So they put this necklace around him, and he wears it. And the necklace is a weird kind of necklace that wears its wearer. But Neo's not totally aware of the wearing of the wearer, the wearing. And so that part happens. He puts the necklace on, or I guess it's a pendant with a chain. Is that different than a necklace? I'm not sure. And, but the idea of being under the care of agents and then putting a necklace around your neck, he starts to drift back off, like confused, Did I just have a dream where I needed lip balm? And then 3 authority figures gave me a best friend necklace, but it's not like best friend. He said, was it 4 pieces or just 2 pieces that was somehow became 3 pieces that said my dudes? And he wakes up in bed and says, holy cow, man. Why couldn't I had some dream like, that was a strange, And his lips are, his lips, like, he looks at himself, he feels his lips. He says, these are kissable lips. Thank goodness I still retain my incredibly kissable lips. And he goes, well, okay, my head, I'm feeling very dreamy. But yeah, okay. And then he looks down and he sees that he's only wearing his shark tooth pendant necklace, which is just a leather thing with a shark tooth. That he doesn't know this, but it's actually it's just not a shark tooth. It's made from plastic, but no one up to this point in his life has had the heart to tell him that. And luckily, because he's a fictional character, I can say it as the stand-in narrator. So again, he touches his lips again. He says, okay, I'm very kissable. Then his phone rings. Not on vibrate, but I would presume it was on some sort of do not disturb for goodness sake, because if he had the ringer on and someone had called him or there was some sort of other, this is, by the way, this is pre-notification era, PNE. So probably do not disturb era. And it may have even been a landline. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was definitely a landline because, because maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm dreaming of someone dreamy. But we'll just say it's a landline is a phone that stays a stationary phone that's connected to a cord, like something you would plug in a wall, but not for electricity. It goes into a separate wall called a phone cord, which connects your phone to the phone port, or I don't know. You used to have to pay someone, if you moved into an apartment, sometimes you'd have to pay someone to put one of these in or turn it on. And you plug it into the wall, then you have then you have to turn on the service just like the other thing. Back then you didn't get your phone only did one thing, or no, 2, I guess, made calls and received calls. Okay, so his phone rings, a landline. He says, okay, my phone's ringing. Keeps ringing, though, because he's still in a state of waking up, I guess. And he says, I got to go get this phone, man. And he answers the phone, but he doesn't say anything because he says he's still thinking about, he's using he says, do I still have this, whatever, chiseled jaw and kissable lips or not? Was that really a dream? Were my lips really stuck together, but stuck together through their own. And on the other end of the phone is a voice of Morpheus. And if you've ever thought about mythology before, Morpheus is in the dream, in the post-earthly dream space. In this case, Morpheus is more, I don't know if it's a nickname, but Morpheus is the name right now it's no game. He's talking to Neo. But he says, hey, by the way, they're listening to this call. They're tapped in. So I got to be brief. And Neo says, the agents, and Morpheus says, I know. They got there first, but they underestimated how important you are, Neo. Hardy har har. And if they knew what I knew, they would have never, even though they didn't give you lip balm, they would have never given you lip balm. Also, there's no lip balm vending machine. And Neo kind of shrugs at that and says, yeah, that makes sense. That's very like a dreamlike thing. Maybe at an airport. I don't know, other places with dry air. And Neo says, okay. He didn't even actually know if there was a conversation or he was just in his head. But he says, what about my dudes? And then he feels his shark tooth necklace. And he goes, what is going on, man? And Morpheus says, you're the one, Neo. You may have spent the last few years looking for me, Dreamcatcher, but I've spent most of my life looking for you. And Neo says, you know, that like, he says, have you heard of performance pressure, like Morpheus? And Morpheus says, you still want to meet? And Neo says, yes. He says, you know, he goes, there's this one bridge. It's in a lot of movies and used in different ways, and it's awesome. Adams Street Bridge. And Morpheus goes, or no, it was Neo. Neo goes, okay. And he says, meet me at Adams Street Bridge. He goes, was that ever in any of the games where you're like driving around? Or what movies was it in? But Morpheus has already hung up. So the next thing is City Street Night. It's like just like there used to be a song that was made into a song for commercials about being just past midnight or half past midnight. Maybe it was on the show Miami Vice. That doesn't have to do with anything, though, but it's just past the middle of the night, the time when it seems like there are no rules. You know, that everybody's up to something. That's what my Nana would, oh boy, nothing good happens after 9 p.m. That's the time to be in bed. Nothing good could possibly come, like, put on your lip balm and go to bed. You wouldn't be dreaming of lip balm vending machines. Who dreams of that? Who says my dudes? I don't know. But if you were in bed at 9 o'clock, you wouldn't be worried about those things. You'd be sleeping. The authority figures would not need to visit you in your dreams. And also, don't you think it's interesting that someone whose name is based on dreams and sleep is the one that may be visiting you during your waking hours, even though you should be in bed, but you're dreaming of agents. Anyway, why am I even supposed to be narrating this? I don't know, but go to bed. But it is, late at night. The roads have just been sprayed with rain. It's very cinematic. Holy cow. And Neo's walking. Neo's wearing boots, and the boots are made for walking, scraping. And people are out and about, even though it's raining, Nana, that would be a first warning sign. People out, who walks in the rain at night? I mean, I realize that the weather may be temperate, but who's walking around in the rain after dark? But Neo is, and these people who Neo feels like are looking at him. And then he reaches the bridge, and he notices headlights behind him. And he turns around, and the car quickly comes to a stop beside him, and the door opens. There's a woman there. Also, by the way, I'm pretty sure the doors open in a strange way, which also confuses Neo. It wouldn't, if you're watching it, you wouldn't be confused because you say, okay, front door opens normal, back door opens away from the front door. You see that, the first thing I would wonder, just like you, after the first thing I'd wonder, about the fifth thing I would wonder is who designed these doors? Because it would be good for a car with people who wear face paint that you can't mention on a sleep podcast that also have poofy things and round red noses. This would be the perfect doors for them to pour out of the car. Though normally I don't think their cars have that feature. Also, most people tell me that their car is a gimmick and it's a hole in the ground. But so both doors open outward. It's a car. You say, I want a car whose doors open like French doors. Well, that's going to be $15,000 extra, and you'll never be able to get it fixed. But will it look cool? Yes, probably. I mean, if you have someone like Trinity who says to Neo, get in, and there's someone behind the wheel, they're APOC, and that's APOC. APOC's a sizable individual. Beside APOC is Switch, and Switch was obviously tuned in to Neo's dreams because Switch is holding a hair dryer, a blow dryer, but it must be battery powered because she just pulls it a little bit and it goes, woo. She's pointing at Neo's lips. And also the windshield wipers are going. The rain's outside of the car. So we have extra layers of sound and whatever that's called, kinetic motion. And Neo obviously says, what? And Trinity says, it's necessary, Neo. We have to be sure. And he says, be sure about what? And she says, be sure from you. And she takes this thing. It was very complicated, like overly complicated. My only opinion, I know I'm not supposed to break from the story here, but basically what she needs to do is remove the necklace from Neo. Now, what Neo doesn't know is that his shark tooth necklace that he thinks is his shark tooth necklace from his youth is actually the same. It is the My Dude's necklace from his dream, which is just its sole purpose is to keep track of him. It's got some sort of tracker within the shark tooth. He still thinks that once upon a time when he was a lad, he was swimming around in the seas and found a shark tooth and then put it on a piece of leather and put it, it's one of those memories he has. But just to make it more cinematic, instead of just using scissors or untying it, a super high-tech device with scanners and all sorts of stuff, and it does like an X-ray and like a chemical analysis right in front of Neo. Like it's a whole like briefcase. I mean, talk about investments, like some sort of like a groundbreaking thing that can analyze pendants or necklaces or other small wearables. So it gives a chemical breakdown, whatever. I don't know what plastic's made of, but maybe it even displays. I don't know. It definitely does. It displays it first in the chemicals and it says, AKA plastic, 100%. And then even just so Neo, they make sure Neo gets it 0% shark tooth. Then it shows within it tracker for tracking. Then also says undiscovered faint, spiritual image, and then it even shows the other half dudes, which is probably how they track him. And she looks at this whole thing and then takes it off. I mean, this looks like the kind of thing, I don't know what else you'd use it for. I mean, high-tech stuff. And so she clips the necklace off, but it has laser, like it has like a bunch of sound effects. It has to spin up, green neon. And then he clips the thing. Then he goes, that's my shark tooth necklace. Then he even lets slip My Dudes, and everybody looks at him. And she goes, read the readout again, Neo. It's 100% plastic with a tracker inside. And Neo says, I can't believe, he goes, forget this whole thing, man. Do you understand that this is a part I didn't have time to go on a tangent for in the middle of a 10-minute tangent from 1 minute scene. But he does go into a slight thing about, he did fill us in on the backstory about how, it became I guess it would look like him as a little kid swimming. And even some of the characters, I'm not sure which one, Switch or APOC, they get a little misty-eyed because it's such a beautiful memory. Because maybe even said, I was afraid to swim. And it was once I overcame my fear to swim, I was afraid of, what was in the water. And I saw, one day I would not just swim, but I would swim on the, swim. And I would, and then that day, and then, somebody whose approval I could never meet. And I found two tooths. Maybe that's who taught him to use the term My Dudes. I don't know, it's an older figure in his imaginary life. But no one has the heart to tell him this right now. And even the fact that he's seeing the chemical analysis of the shark tooth, that it's not a shark tooth. And, they like maybe even to further break it, she brings up, you could buy 800 of those for 0.4 cents each in bulk right now, Neo. But he says, I'm not so sure about this. And Switch says, stop the car. And then Switch says, listen up, kid. We don't got time for these shark tooth memories. We got one rule here from now on out, our way or the highway. And Neo goes, that's fine, because first of all, it's confused. So it's our way, not your way or the highway, but we're on a street. And he starts to open the door. And Trinity says, Neo, you got to trust me. And he goes, why should I trust you? Like, what? And Trinity says, Neo, you've already been there. You already know that road. You already know where it ends. And, of course, there could be a side thing where Neo takes it literally, says, yeah, well, that's 14th, and then I take a right, But instead, we catch that sweet, sweet jaw and those kissable lips, the rain, the street lights, looking out the window. We're seeing things through Trinity's eyes almost, and Trinity says, I know that's not where you want to be. And Neo closes the door, and the car's back in motion now. And not only was, if it was strange enough that the doors open in a way, that's not familiar to us, except in, areas where you say time travel. What other cars door, espionage, time travel, video games, super rich people, and other things. I don't know where else, aspirational car ownership. If that wasn't strange enough, the fact that the streetlights as the car starts to move kind of seem a little bit green in the tinge. And if Neo really could listen beyond the raindrops, you'd feel a slight hum. Like a noise that's comforting, like a couple notes that kind of feel like synthesized brass, but in the best possible way, the way I can't do it justice because I don't know what I'm talking about. So, okay, so now I guess we're back. So the car's moving. His shark tooth necklace is gone. And they head off into the night. The car keeps going. So I'll be right back, everybody. I mean, instantaneously. And we'll look at the actual images. Then we'll see. But I don't know. That's pretty tangential. Okay, so everybody, this is your buddy Scoots again. And what I'm going to try to do here is I just watched the scene and took notes. I was going to watch it while we're in the studio, but because of the multiple layers of logging in, it's not important anyway. I think this will be better because it made me really focus on some stuff. So we'll run through this. We'll see how long that takes, and then I'll kind of look at, is there... I don't know. Also, I recorded the part you just heard, so that's already left my mind, even though I said, that's pretty good. So if I'll refresh your memory from the start here. I guess I should take it fresh, though. Welcome to Matrix Radio Theater. I don't know. At our last episode, you may remember, Neo was interviewed by Agent Smith and two other agents whose names I just don't remember. But they referred to Neo, just in case it was confusing, as Mr. Anderson, but in a little bit different voice, but I just don't have my ability to weave the weaving right this moment. Mr. Anderson, no, don't got it. Mr. Anderson, nope, still don't got it, but that's fine because Neo was interviewed by them. And probably most importantly, as you remember, they said, we're going to give you a tadpole to keep, or maybe I said something else earlier, but now as I recall it, it was a tadpole. And Neo said, what do you mean? And they said, well, this is strange. And don't worry, it'll make more sense and less sense in a few short seconds. But we're going to give you a tadpole that lives in your armpit hair. And it won't make it, like, but trust me, it won't. And Neo said, no, thank you. I don't want one tadpole. Care for a tadpole seems a little bit complicated. 2, what does this have to do with our interview? I thought this was work related or something. And, maybe my other activities, the dance mixes I make. 2, the idea of anything, I realize there's microscopic beings out there, but other than that, I don't like, just the idea of a tadpole that lives in anyone's armpit hair seems like something I would be having in a dream. So ideally, this is just a dream, and I can soothe myself by saying that, Neo, you're just having a dream. But and then they said, they actually great strategy. If now they said don't, and then Neo said, what if I just start to care? One more question. If I started to care for this, like I had an affinity for this tadpole or tadpoles in general. And they said, don't worry, the tadpole has evolved in a way that even if it's safe in your armpit hair. And then they tickled his sides and he lifted his armpits up naturally. And that was the last thing he remembers is them but we can assume that a tadpole, like something like a tadpole. They also said, but this was like a cut from the film. Actually, by the way, Neo, this is what did I say? Well, I forgot what they were going to say. They tickled him. It was a piece of not important information that a reasonable person might have asked. Would the tadpole be safe in your armpit hair? Always. And then something else about it that you would have probably thought to yourself, if you're going to have this thing living in my armpit hair, I mean, you'd have other questions, right? Do I need to feed it? I thought you were doing the next scene. I don't know. There was one more question, but the answer already escapes me that Neo would have asked before he fell asleep. I don't know. Well, also, great question. Would Neo name the tadpole in his armpit hair? I don't know. But so Neo wakes, but then it's just a dream, Neo. It's just a dream. Oh, another question. Audience members might. Was it very cute when he giggled when he was tickled? Yes, very cute. And then we have Neo waking up in bed, and there's a couple pieces of play setting I need to do. Neo, as a character, sleeps with a T-shirt on. And I don't know if we take anything, like will Neo later in life sleep with a T-shirt? I would say probably not. So maybe this is part of Neo's character's journey. Adventure, like shirtless in the inmost cave is coming up one day. Also, Neo we really get a good, like some nice paneling in this attic that Neo lives in. Nice positioning of the bed, except that there's a shelf because Neo sits up in bed waking up. Checks his armpits? Nothing, no tadpoles. I guess he pulled how did he check his armpits? Great question. I just realized he pulled his shirt collar and looked in his armpits, which if you're going to check your armpits, probably not the best way to get a full accounting of what, but there's a shelf above his bed, one of those hanging wall shelves. I don't know if anybody has one of those in their home. Don't recommend them. They don't hold anything. Unless you have some sort of person in your house that's so useful and they know where studs are and that kind of stuff. But also don't put them near your bed because what if you moved around even more? Also, we get to see a little bit of, we get a little personal Neo time. We see that Neo has maybe a dresser that was once a card catalog or looks like something that was once used to hold stuff in a high school like science lab, and like the kind of thing you could buy now somewhere for like $4,000. If somebody smart's probably selling them out there. That's why I'm laughing. also on the top of Neo's dresser, we'll call it, there's the one thing I noted was there's a fish bowl. It looks like he took it from, it's full of, I think it's full of prophylactics, which is like a form, like in case, for, I don't know, for if Neo's sleeping without a shirt on, like that you'd see in a high school, what do you call that? A health center. I said, did he take that from like a health center? Is that, I mean, I only have, I don't have like quantum dot technology at my fingertips, but I said, is that a fishbowl from a high school, whatever? Because I didn't need to access those, so I don't know exactly what it's called. Nice attic, nice wall panels, nightstand, dresser, library card catalog, raining outside. And then his phone rings, right? And his phone has buttons, which I thought was important. It's either, I think the phone is a deep shade of green. And then Neo answers the phone. There's someone speaking on the other line, but if we were to watch it, he's listening intently, blinking. And on the other line is Morpheus. And first, Morpheus tries to lay on the honey. He says something like, I've been looking for you my whole life, but I got to be brief. I got to get to the point. Everybody's always underestimated you. No pressure. And what does this say? Oh, you still want to meet up? What do you think? And Neo says, what is going on, dude? Like, pretty sure I just had a dream that a tadpole was in my armpits. And he says, listen, just go to the Cinematic Street Bridge if you want to meet. And we see a shot of Neo standing, looking at these waterfalls coming off the top of the bridge. You definitely need your windshield wipers on full if you were going out there. Car pulls up actually behind Neo. And it does have the doors that I alluded to in the, doors. This is a classic car, but with, I don't know anything about periods of style. I don't know. Is there such a thing as a mid-century modern car door? Or mid-century, I mean, people love that. You say that car doors like that, that's mid-century. Can I get myself a mid-century, what do they call mid-century modern car doors? Oh, sure, we could do that. It's would you want us, with that, you want it to go with your science lab furniture? Your vintage classic science lab furniture? And so the door opens, we see Trinity. Now, Trinity is tough to, if this was the first scene I'd watched in a long time, and I would say have the neon, is that pleather or vinyl? Or what is that, what like your suit, is that a vinyl suit you're wearing? Or a latex? It's shiny. That's Neo's first reaction. And also knowledge. I'm entering a world where people go about their evenings in stylish, possibly functional, depending on the breathability of it. And Neo says to himself, holy neo-futuristic situation. That's Trinity. Trinity says, get in the car. And he gets in the car, and also we see a car's got some cool lights. If you wanted to do, I don't know if those go on individually, if you wanted to do some reading, if you're in the back seat as a passenger. And Neo just gets in the back of the car. The car, I guess, starts driving right away. And as the dialogue goes on, anytime you need a little extra punctuation in the dialogue, there's a little bit of thunder and lightning to underline it. And they say surprise, and they have noisemakers, which Neo's thrown off by, like when you blow in the thing, like the thing at a party where you blow it and the thing unrolls. And I don't know if you've ever done this. If you don't recommend it, I don't do this, but I may have done in the past. The person sitting in the front seat she unrolls hers and it touches Neo's nose, but she does it with her eyes, like her eyes narrowed, like don't mess around here, man. And Trinity does it too, and it doesn't quite reach Neo's earlobe, but close enough. And the character in the front seat, Switch, who's not in pleather, in a sort of some sort of white suit. We only get a hint of it with matching hair matches. And the only reason that I mentioned the hair matching the suit is because of the next tangent they go on. But she says, listen up, kid, take your shirt off. And Neo is immediately confused and says, well, what kind of party is this? And two, I'm wearing a jacket. And she says, exactly, take your shirt off. And then he's what? And then she says, stop the car. Do you need the car not moving to take your shirt off? And again, he says, just take my shirt off with the like I have a jacket on. Can I take my jacket off? No, silence. And he looks over at Trinity, who just nods like, yep, you got to take your shirt off with your jacket on. We don't need to over-explain it like this was a sleep podcast. And again, he gets this blank look, which, I mean, relatably, anybody would. But then Switch says, listen up, Copper Top. And she starts to keep talking, but Neo is so confused by that reference. And so was I until just this time when I said, holy cow, how many times have I watched The Matrix and I never caught this piece of dialogue? But Neo totally misses it. And he says, did you just call me Carrot Top? Do like Carrot Top, like he holds his hand towards his head. I don't even know if Carrot Top was a celebrity in this, like I guess Carrot Top would have been a celebrity in Neo's world, at least. So he says Carrot Top, like Carrot Top, and she says Copper Top. It's and then she says, by the way, you interrupted me. I was saying it's either you can take your shirt off or you can hit the road. And Neo says, fine. And he says, I'm not going to be, what is this, some sort of like joining your club thing? You blow like noisemakers at me, and then I'm going to take my shirt off with my jacket on. Then I'm going to get caught up in my jacket. But realistically, I don't even know how I'd do that without my jacket falling off while I'm taking my shirt off. So, yeah, no, I'm not going to do these, this is like the equivalent of a reindeer game, I believe. And so he says, fine. And then Trinity says, wait, Neo, come on. Come on, please. Trust me, Trinity says, trust me. You could earn your own futuristic outfit. And it was just, never mind. Just pull your shirt up. And then she plugs something into the cigarette lighter. And Neo says, there's no way that's going to blow this car is old. There's no way that I think she has this giant device that I probably referred to in my other read-through. And Neo says, there's no way that device is not going to blow out the fuse for he goes, and the person driving, APOC, I believe, says, dude, listen to the car. And everybody falls silent. And you hear this, you realize the car is a piece of sweet, sweet technology. That's like even more, like we say, I want an electric car, that's mid-century modern, or, and also has those cool doors and, where I can use all my devices, especially super high-tech ones. But just the sound of the car, it's in a movie, not a sleep podcast or a novelization or whatever, would have filled it in. That sound of a car, somewhere between a whine and a hum. More pleasant on the ears than a whine, but more high-tech than a hum. But Trinity says, don't worry. And Neo says, what is this thing? And she goes, it's an armpit hair comber, brusher. Kind of like one of those things. She goes, do you have a dog? And Neo goes, no, but I'm familiar with dogs. I love them. And somebody up front, I don't know who says, I'm a cat person. I don't know who said it, though. I'm not going to say if it was Switch or APOC. You can make it, because it's unspecified, an unspecified voice, because there's so much thunder and lightning, and it's just like just a throwaway line. But, Copper Top was not a throwaway line. Would have thought it was. But it's a seed planted. And he goes, wait a second, like, so she extends this thing, and it's very high tech. It looks like the kind of thing, like if you, like drop something that's got little grabby hands, but like they're coated with some sort of like nice stuff, like some sort of like, I don't know, soft material. And Neo goes, "Is it going to tickle?" And Trinity says a bit, this is like, there's a somewhat extended sequence because, as you could imagine, this was difficult. I mean, they do make eye contact during multiple times. And this was one of my favorite parts of the thing, because everyone's trying to stifle giggles. APOC even has to pull over. And, in the extra extended version, it's really good because you see both APOC and Switch. I don't know. I mean, I think there maybe even were outtakes of this, like bursting into laughter, holding into laughter. And I think, I mean, maybe in imaginary interviews, the cast even said, this really brought us together. Wish we would have done this on the first day. Because Trinity's got this device combing through Neo's armpit hair. And she keeps saying, sit still, come on. And he, he's trying, don't laugh, just sit still, just breathe through your nose. And Neo's trying to not laugh. Also has his shirt pulled up, almost over his head. Still has his jacket on, by the way, I guess, because Trinity's got a good angle. And this thing has like a pen light on it. And that's just like a really great, I don't know, like an amuse-bouche or whatever, a little bit of a pillow softener, seeing him squirming around, giggling, fighting off giggles, her giggling, well, moment of levity. I think that's the right phrase I was looking for. And eventually she gets the tadpole out, and they pull up to a pond called Tadpole Pond, which leads to the assumption that it's perfectly good to drop the tadpole in the pond. So he goes, there really was a tadpole in my armpit hair. And she goes, well, maybe one day you could write a song about it. And he says, okay. And then they drive off into the night. And then we see, the next thing we see is stairways, and you say, due to my limited knowledge of mid-century modern, you say, I don't know about, this is the kind of apartment building that I like seeing on film. But I don't know if I'd want to live there. Or like it's a staircases going up. There's checkered flooring, the big square checkers, black and white squares. So you say, okay, that's a mood. Wallpaper. And the mood is so thick, you can smell it. You could smell the mood. It's musty. It's plastery. It's a little bit moist, but it's also pouring rain outside. But you say, but there's something about this that's not bad compared to, walking through some ultra modern, ceilings are higher. There's more. It's airy, man. And I'm not sure if I like it or I don't, but I know I have nostalgia for it either way. And they pause outside the door, and there's nice light fixtures along the wallpaper. And it's the kind of wallpaper you'd want to touch. You'd want to touch your fingers and feel the different things. And you'd even maybe, there was a comedian once, Jerry Seinfeld, said, wallpaper, what happened with that? People used to paper their walls. I don't know. I don't do a Jerry Seinfeld, but I said, who would make an observational comment about wallpaper at this inopportune moment in the 90s? And that's who I thought of. But, I mean, this is more about the textures and the layers. And it's Trinity, who's rubbing her finger on the wallpaper. The velvet, there's a velvety part of the wall. A good wallpaper uses like a velvety part sometimes when it's appropriate for the room or the hallway and mood, which is this one it is. Looks at Neo. And she says, before you go in, there's two things. One, try to be honest. Two, do not ask him about his glasses. Neo says, what? She goes, don't ask him why he's wearing or any of us wearing sunglasses indoors at nighttime. But definitely do not ask him about the fact his glasses have no sides or whatever you call them, ear holders. She goes, I'm not an, optometrist, but I don't even know the ear. And he goes, ear holders. She goes, the things that hold your glasses on your ears, like these. And he goes, he's wearing glasses that have no sides. And she goes, well, they have. She goes, just don't ask about them. Don't stare at them too much, but pretend you're looking at them. They're a good method for looking at him, but then if he takes them off, don't look at look at him, not the glasses. And then he says, so don't mention the glass. He goes, is that how touchy? He goes, is that how intense Morpheus is? He's that sensitive? She goes, no, it just distracts from the conversation. And everybody's asked, like, if you're like, I guess I shouldn't be telling you this. She goes, I asked about the glasses. And he said that you like, that's the way I would have known. That's the way I know you're one of us, but not the one, Trinity. And he chuckled lovingly. And I guess I shouldn't have even told you, but, and Neil goes, thank you. And then he shakes his head again. And I think he just says it to glasses with no sides. What kind of world am I in now? And with that, he prepares to cross the threshold, which will be coming soon to your earbuds, your sweet, sweet ears. Whether you take your glasses, don't worry. There's no such thing as, by the way, no such thing as tadpoles in your armpits, except for, one of the Emmett Otter jug band songs that was never published. But that was more about swimming in ponds than, science fiction, neo-noir, whatever. So, yeah, that's it. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Kelly, Bishop, and Marco. Thank you. Thanks, and good night, Nick, Lauren, and Claire. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Chris, Eva, and Krista. Thanks, and good night. Matthew, Robin, and Katie. Thank you. Thanks, good night. Claudette, Tim, and Robin. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Danielle, Katie, and Carolyn. Thanks, and good night. Holly, Ann, and LDH. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Good night. Garrett, Hayden, and Annalise. Thank you. Thanks, good night. And Will, Jordan, and Jonathan. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody who supports the show directly through paying for a free podcast, for what you get out of it, and for the bonus content, whether it's ad-free episodes, story-only episodes, all intro episodes, bonus shows, compilations, access all the way back to the beginning. But yeah, it's an honor to make this show, and it's I just really appreciate the fact that people do it. Right now is around when I'm about to record episode 1200. This is coming up, so I'm thinking a lot about it. 10 years, 1200 episodes. So I really appreciate it. And what else? People that support sponsors and let me know about it, and people that support the show for free. And be sure, if you spread the word about the podcast, whether it's in person, online, you find a new listener, let me know about it. And, I'll be sure to thank you. So you fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, because I couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. And here's either Tuck You In sponsor or Scoots. That's how we're now at 600 ad-supported shows available free to anybody. so you can make your playlist your favorites or listen over and over again. Thanks. All right, boys, this is a tuck you in message, post to roll at the end of the listener ad-supported podcast. So the first thing is, if you're a Sleep With Me Plus supporter and you're hearing this message, you're actually listening to the ad-supported feed of the podcast, which is hosted somewhere different than the Sleep With Me Plus content. And while you could listen to this, I highly encourage you to get everything set up. If you need help, you've already tried it. Our support team is there, always there to help you. Just send them an email, support@supercast.com. But in order to add your Sleep With Me Plus content, all you have to do is have a podcast app. We recommend using or testing out, if you're listening at this point, to like an independent podcast app just for your sleep podcast and Sleep With Me Plus content. But all you need to do on your device, I guess you'll just re-listen to this part tomorrow, right? But I'll just walk you through the steps. And let's walk you through the steps just imagining you just signed up for Sleep With Me Plus, or you're like, holy cow, I'm hearing this message. Why haven't I tried out the full ad-free episodes that I don't even know, what is there, 900 to 1,400 episodes, depending on if you're a boar bud or a boar bestie or boar friend. There's the story-only episodes. There's hundreds, and I think there's 900 of those. They come out the same day. No ads in there. There's the bonus feed full of bonus episodes, episodes that have never been released anywhere else before, posty special edition episodes, Hike With Me episodes. Then if you're a boar friend or a boar best, you get the all intro feed that also has all night episodes, which are kind of like audio books or compilations of certain styles of episodes. Right now, putting out the Great British Bake Off episodes. So all you need to do on your phone or your tablet is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, log into your account with the email you signed up with and your password. Or if you don't have your password, you could just log in with your email and they'll send you a code to that email. And if you can't do that, just reach out to our support team. But once you're logged in, you'll, let's just say you're using, like one of there's a bunch of great independent podcast apps out there. One of the big popular ones, they'll all be listed on the left-hand side. You just click plus, pick your podcast app from that list, and add each feed to your podcast app, and then follow or subscribe in your podcast app. And if at any point you need help, you just email our support team. So we're always here to help you, but I really strongly encourage you to enjoy all that extra content. You can always come back to this listener-supported, ad-supported, free version of the show, but try out both of those. Now, speaking of ad-supported episodes, story-only episodes, we are doing Surprised by Scoots. So if you've always wanted to try out the Sleep With Me Plus content, but yeah, that $7 a month is just stretched for you, right? Just too much. And I've been there while I was making the show. I was living paycheck to paycheck, or sometimes less than that. So I totally understand. We're doing Surprised by Scoots. All you have to do is let one person know about the podcast. Let me know about it. Whether you send me an email through the contact form on our website, or you tag me, share your honest experience about the podcast, and I'm going to surprise some of those people with free subscriptions to Sleep With Me Plus. And the more times you do it, the more likely you are to be surprised. So get out there and do that. If you're interested, you could get ad-free episodes, story-only episodes, bonus episodes. And it's a huge way to help the podcast. It's the way the show's grown over the history of the podcast. It helps new people discover the show, that the podcast could really help out, because the podcast only helps out the people that the show was made for, right? But if they never hear about the podcast, then they never have a chance to find it. because it's always, Sleep With Me has always been something, I had no idea this existed and could help me. I had no idea I was looking for this my whole life. So please get out there and let people know about it. It's a huge, huge way to help the show and other people out. And then something you could feel good about and maybe get surprised by it. Like Jeremy, Liz, Joe, a bunch of other people that have been out this week. So a really fun thing to do. So you participate, you can be a part of this thing. And then there's the listeners we really do need support from the show from. If you're in a position financially to support the show and you listen in one of these ways that I've been talking about over the past year, particularly, I mean, if you fall asleep fast during the intro, you may be the only one person that falls asleep fast hearing this. Or if you listen all night long, listeners tend to tune this stuff out or sleep through it too. In a sense, they sleep through everything. The reality of the podcast is that if people that fall asleep fast and people that listen all night long to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes don't support the show, really, if you listen that way and you miss Sleep With Me as if it's gone, don't wait to support the show, because it will not, the show can't make it without a large percentage of those people who can afford to support the show supporting the show. Because sponsors don't cover that kind of listening and nothing else does. And particularly if you listen all night, or I guess if you fall asleep fast, a lot of our hard work, myself and the team's hard work, goes into that. And because the show is so effective, it's easy to take it for granted, I think, or just kind of assume, because the show feels magical thinking is actually normal and acceptable, but it kind of makes it really tough to keep the show going. As well as people that have listened longer than a year, you listen 4, 5, 6 nights a week. Those are other listener groups that we really do need your support. But we need it tonight, like right now when you're hearing this message. If you listen all night long and the podcast makes your life $60 better a year, $240 better a year, $120 better a year, or $7 better a month, that money will change the future of the podcast. Either way, like collectively, the show will be here. But without me getting hold of those people who already want to support the show, right? But you've been putting it off, or you just never heard me ask before because you fall asleep fast or you listen all night long and you're listening but not really listening. Or you've been listening for years and you just got used to these messages and you say, somebody else is going to do it. Scoots is always asking. Yeah, I'm always asking because people cycle in and out. Normally, like about between 150 and 300 people have to stop supporting the show every month because of finances or because they stop listening. If you are in one of those listening groups and you're hearing me right now, could you support the show right now? If you'd miss it if it was gone, it'd make a huge difference to me that everybody that works really hard on this show and all the other people who are new to the podcast, who are waiting out there to discover it, surprised by Scoots, or just aren't in a position to support the show for whatever reason. Like someone else's support brought the podcast to this moment. And if you could support the show right now, it'd be a big difference. And you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But thanks for listening. Even if you're just listening to me right now, this is all in service of all the episodes that have existed before this point and all the episodes that will exist after this point, so that together we can keep one another company in this deep, dark night. So thanks for being here. And the good news is we got episode after episode after episode, if you need them, coming out 3 times a week, 3 different styles of episodes every single week. 2 brand new episodes, 1 classic episode. And I want to keep being here because I know this podcast does make people's lives better, makes people's nights better. And it's really important to me. And I'm not ready to move on from the podcast, whether it's now or a year from now or 2 years from now. I want to keep making this show and keep being the voice to sleep with me. So, yeah, thanks.